Nothing reveals a South Asian man faster than how he spends his unused hours. Not his words.
You do not wake up one day transformed. No one does. Change does not arrive with noise or ceremony. It enters quietly, through repetition, through what you choose to return to when no one is watching. Most lives are not ruined by one great mistake, but shaped by thousands of small, unexamined habits. What you do in your spare hours, in the margins of your day, slowly teaches you who you are allowed to become. You already know this, even if you avoid saying it aloud. The way you spend your free time is not neutral. It is either training you or dulling you. And the uncomfortable truth is this: many people protect their distractions more fiercely than they protect their character. Stoicism does not ask you to escape life. It asks you to choose practices that sharpen you rather than soothe you. Hobbies are not innocent. They are rehearsals for identity. The things you return to again and again carve your inner posture. They decide whether you become disciplined or restless, grounded or reactive. If your life feels scattered, it is not because you lack motivation. It is because your daily practices are training you to be scattered. You are being shaped every day whether you consent to it or not. The question is whether you will finally choose to participate consciously in that shaping. Most people misunderstand what a hobby is. They treat it as an escape, a way to forget responsibility, a pause from discipline. But the Stoics saw no separation between leisure and character. Seneca warned that how a man spends his idle hours reveals more about him than how he performs under obligation. Free time exposes who you are without external pressure. It shows what your mind gravitates toward when it is unguarded. If you choose pursuits that demand nothing of you, you will slowly become someone from whom nothing can be demanded. But if you choose practices that require patience, restraint, and presence, you build an inner structure that holds under stress. This is why a single choice, repeated daily, can alter the direction of a life, not because the activity itself is magical, but because of what it trains you to tolerate. Some hobbies train your attention, some train your ego, some train your avoidance. The danger is not obvious at first. It appears later, when you realize you are bored by silence, irritated by effort, and impatient with growth. That did not happen overnight. It was practiced. Look closely at your restlessness. It is not a personality trait. It is a trained response. If your leisure teaches you constant stimulation, your mind will revolt against stillness. If your hobbies reward quick pleasure, your discipline will collapse under delay. Stoicism is not about removing pleasure from life. It is about refusing to let pleasure dictate your limits. The right pursuits quietly raise your tolerance for effort and lower your dependence on novelty. They make you harder to disturb and slower to react. You stop needing constant proof that life is entertaining you. You become capable of standing with yourself. This is where real freedom begins. Not in doing whatever you want, but in wanting what strengthens you. When you choose a hobby that demands patience, you are not filling time, you are practicing endurance. When you choose something that requires solitude, you are not isolating yourself. You are building self-trust. This is how small choices remake a life without announcing themselves. Consider the discipline of learning something slowly, an instrument, a language, a craft. Not for applause, not for recognition, but for the humility it forces on you. Progress measured in months, not days. Failure repeated without drama. This kind of pursuit reshapes your relationship with frustration. You stop seeing resistance as an insult. You see it as a teacher. The Stoics understood that voluntary difficulty trains the soul. When you willingly place yourself in situations where progress is earned, you become less resentful of effort. Elsewhere, you no longer panic when results delay themselves. You have practiced waiting. You have practiced showing up without guarantees. Most people quit these pursuits early, not because they lack ability, but because their ego cannot tolerate being a beginner. They mistake discomfort for incompatibility. In truth, that discomfort is the very thing they are missing in their lives. It is the friction that polishes character. Without it, you remain soft where life demands firmness. There is also power in solitary hobbies that bring you face to face with your own mind. Writing, walking, reading with intention. These are not passive activities. They confront you with your thoughts without distraction. Many people avoid them because silence exposes their inner noise. Stoicism does not rush to quiet that noise. It asks you to listen to it without flinching. When you regularly engage in practices that require attention rather than stimulation, your inner life becomes less chaotic. You start noticing patterns in your thinking. You see where your reactions come from. Self-awareness is not gained through analysis alone. It is built through repeated encounters with yourself. Hobbies that slow you down make self-deception harder. They strip away excuses. You begin to see how often you reach for distraction, not because you are tired, but because you are avoiding discomfort. This realization alone can change how you live. Physical disciplines deserve their own respect. Not exercise as punishment, not movement as vanity, but training as dialogue with limitation. When you choose a physical practice that demands consistency rather than spectacle, you learn something essential. Your body responds to what you do repeatedly, not to what you intend. This lesson transfers everywhere. You stop trusting motivation and start trusting systems. You learn that progress is quiet and cumulative. Stoicism values this because it grounds philosophy in reality. The body teaches what the mind likes to forget, that effort has consequences, both positive and negative. When your hobby requires you to show up on days you feel indifferent, you practice obedience to principle rather than mood. This is self-mastery in its most honest form, not domination but alignment. Creative pursuits carry a different kind of discipline. They expose your need for approval. Painting, writing, building something that may never be praised. Here, the struggle is not physical but psychological. Can you continue without external validation? Can you accept imperfection without quitting? Stoicism teaches that worth is not assigned by applause. Creative hobbies, when approached correctly, train you to work without witnesses. They teach you to value the process over the outcome. This is rare and valuable. Many people abandon creative effort because it threatens their identity. They want to be seen as talented without enduring the awkwardness of becoming skilled. But creation demands humility. It asks you to fail privately, to refine quietly, to persist without guarantees. If you can do this in one area, you can do it anywhere. The danger is not choosing the wrong hobby. The danger is choosing none deliberately. When leisure is unexamined, it becomes consumption. And consumption, unchecked, dulls the edge of life. You begin to feel entitled to ease and offended by effort. Stoicism warns against this softening, not because pleasure is evil, but because dependence is. When your peace depends on constant comfort, you are fragile. Hobbies that demand something from you make you less so. They give you an inner spine. They teach you that satisfaction earned is deeper than pleasure received. Over time, this changes how you carry yourself. You speak differently. You react less. You become harder to provoke because you are no longer empty. As these practices accumulate, something subtle happens. Your identity shifts. You stop describing yourself by what you consume and start recognizing yourself by what you practice. This is not about becoming impressive. It is about becoming consistent. The Stoics believed that character is revealed through repeated action, not stated intention. When your hobbies align with the person you want to become, your days stop contradicting your values. This coherence creates calm. You are no longer at war with yourself. You know what you do and why you do it. This clarity is rare. It cannot be purchased or rushed. It is built quietly. In evenings no one sees, through choices that look insignificant until they are not. There will be resistance. Boredom will appear. Doubt will whisper that this effort is unnecessary, that you deserve easier pleasure. This voice never disappears. It is part of being human. Stoicism does not silence it. It teaches you not to obey it. Discipline is not harshness. It is loyalty to a long-term vision when short-term desire protests. Each time you return to a practice that strengthens you, you vote for the person you are becoming. Over months and years, those votes compound. One day you notice that your reactions are slower, your focus steadier, your sense of self less dependent on external approval. Nothing dramatic happened. You simply chose differently, repeatedly. Your life will never be the same, not because a hobby saved you, but because it trained you. It taught you how to stay with effort, how to endure boredom, how to face yourself without escape. These are not small skills. They are the foundation of freedom. If you choose even one practice that demands presence, patience, and restraint, and you return to it consistently, you will feel the shift, quietly, irreversibly. The world will not announce it, but you will carry yourself differently. And that is enough. If this way of thinking steadies you, if it reminds you to choose what builds rather than what numbs, continue walking this path with us at Built by Stoicism.